Hi there. As you can all have noticed, I haven't been getting around to making enough videos lately. But I did see that some of you were asking me to comment on this absurd thing about could 100 men kill one gorilla in a deathmatch. Why is anyone talking about that at all? Okay, I realise I'm late to the party and hopefully the internet has found something better to talk about because it really is a very dumb question. Gorillas, are placid vegetarians. They don't go out of their way to see gladiatorial death matches. And if you're a human who doesn't have a gun and for some reason you want to hunt a gorilla, you don't get together with 99 of your mates and rush it barehanded. You make a spear or a bow with poison arrows or something. Nobody in their right mind pits 100 men against one gorilla, no matter how many so-called experts comment on it. Although I do like a little cartoon that I found about this question, starting with two gorillas meeting in the afterlife. One of them's all beaten up and mauled. He said, "What happened to you? 100 humans randomly jumped me. What about you?" Oh, the other one's presumably Harambe because he says, "Some kid fell into my house, so they shot me." First gorilla says, "Humans are such animals, aren't they?" Agreed. Yeah. Only humans would think of something so stupid as having a death match between 100 people and one gorilla. It's a really dumb idea. But anyway, what I was actually supposed to be doing today was the video I've been saying for ages I ought to do about this whole Sigma male thing. I realise I'm late to the party. It's probably a bit passe now, but there's still a lot of people going on and on about Sigma men and how to be one and how to know if you are one and what to do if you are one. And strange that the rarest possible kind of man seems to be everywhere at the moment. And yet, it's very, very bad science. It's no more good science to say that there are alpha, beta, and sigma males than it is to say that because of the position of the constellations at this particular time of the Earth's history, we're entering a new age of peace and enlightenment. And yet people did used to treat that as though it was something scientifically accurate and believable. Yeah? And in its time, the song, "This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius," was every bit as popular as the Sigma, Sigma boy, Sigma boy, Sigma boy thing. And no, I am not going to do a full performance of either of those two. Okay, anyway, the whole Sigma male thing is very bad science. It started with Rudolf Schenkel, someone check him a notes. Okay, in the 1940s, studying wolves in captivity and noticing that the biggest wolf would bully the others and become the dominant male, and coined the term alpha wolf for this one. Yeah, but that's wolves in captivity, frightened, out of their right place, stuck in with strangers. That's not how wolves work in the wild. In the wild, they form family groups. The pack is the parents and their half-grown cubs hunting together to feed the younger cubs. Yeah, if you wanted a real alpha male based on a wolf, you'd want a guy who was a good family man. Anyway, that's where the idea of alpha and beta came from, and some people added, gammas and epsilons and gammas, deltas, and omegas. I think is lower and lower ranks of men, and how they were less and less likely to find wealth, power, and women. Yeah. Then a guy whose real name is Theodore Robert Bale. I didn't know that. He called himself Vox Day, spelled Voxday, a pun on the term Vox Dei, which means the voice of God. He's a writer who is one of the most appallingly sexist, racist, bigoted men in the writing business. He says that feminism is a destructive Jewish conspiracy. He says women should never have been given the right to vote, etc., etc. He decided to draw the pyramid with the alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and omega men, and then the sigma as this mysterious, aloof, lone wolf who doesn't need to be in the hierarchy but could be a leader if he wanted to be. Yeah. And encourage people to identify with this image, the Sigma male. It's bad science made up by a bigoted bloke. it's not really a real thing. However, some men and some teenage boys do feel the need to identify as Sigma men. So is this a good or a bad thing? Well, I made a few notes. On the good side, yep, it gives the guys who don't fit into the in group and the social pecking order something to identify with and a way to feel good about not being at the top of the pecking order. I have to say, I was never one of the in group myself, so if this idea had been around when I was growing up, maybe I'd have identified as a Sigma, or at least I'd entertained the idea of doing so. And yeah, being comfortable in yourself, learning to like your own company, be your own man, great. Also set goals for yourself. I originally wrote this as set own goals, but then I thought, yeah, own goals sounds like you're a loser who kicks the ball into his own net. And that's no, you set goals for yourself. You don't let other people tell you what you want. You decide. That's cool enough. That's fine. And being content with a few good friends. Well, people have been saying that since forever, That's not something that just came up with this Sigma thing. I remember the writer Jerome K. Jerome comparing life to a boat that you're preparing for a trip up the river. And you try and keep it light. Have only a few things. Enough to eat, a little bit more than enough to drink, because thirst is a terrible thing. And a few genuine friends. Yeah, why not? A few good friendships or genuine relationships, better than a lot of superficial popularity and fake insecure jostling in the pecking order. That's true. So those are the good sides to identifying as a Sigma. On the other side, yeah, opening yourself up to a whole new set of pecking orders and gatekeeping, because the Sigma male has become a new clique. And so if you want to identify as one, you've got to argue with the people who think they are the experts, both influencers online and at your school or college, the most annoying little twerp in the class who thinks he's a true Sigma and he thinks he gets to say who is and is not a true Sigma. People who have been in my classes at school watching this, you know who you are. Also, of course, if you're a boy and you're worrying about whether or not the girls like you, you're landing yourself in another round of that, because if you start calling yourself a Sigma, girls will judge whether you really are or not, based on their entirely subjective judgment of whether they think you've got Riz. So you're still going to be faced with pecking orders, in-group dynamics, and all the rest of it. You shouldn't be, because the whole thing is supposed to be outside of all that, but because it's become a craze, it's become another clique, and another set of gatekeeping. So that's no good. Also, as I said, this was founded by a bloke, Vox Day, whose opinions are frankly awful. And it's celebrated by some of the most crazy elements and toxic elements of the online manosphere. Yeah, influencers like Andrew Tate get into this whole Sigma male thing. These are not good guys. If you take, it can be a sucker trap too. They can want to sign you up for courses on how to be a Sigma, so that you have to give them money. Yeah, and not caring what other people think of you. That's okay up to a point. There's times you can't let other people's opinions change your mind for you. But if you become completely divorced from caring about other people, you're a sociopath or a psychopath. I mean, you're sinking into the dark triad personality types: narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy. Yeah, this is not a good way to be. Some of those lists of Sigma characters in in popular culture, they include people like Patrick Bateman from American Psycho or Hannibal the Cannibal. I hope I don't have to point out that those are not good role models. Okay, well, moving on. Yes, it is definitely okay to be your own man and to like your own company. Yeah, this is fine. And don't let me put you off. I certainly buy into that myself. I'm not one of the in crowd, as I said. And it can be great. But telling yourself you don't care about others can just be an excuse not to improve, not to work on your own failings. Sometimes you might be able to get on with people better if you put in the work. By saying, I don't need other people, I'm a Sigma. can mean you don't bother to do that, you know? Okay, also, because this is not scientific, this is not really good science, there's no real, verifiable, testable set of qualities that really are what make a Sigma man. Different people make different lists. Here's one. This is 11 quite good features, actually. I can get behind quite a lot of these. But everybody's got their own set of definitions and their own set of rules as to what is and is not a Sigma. It can be unemotional and cold, for example. Well, that isn't me. I'm too emotional. I get angry. I yell. I also cry way more easily than befits a big, strong boy. There was a woman called Coach Melanie online. She's a Christian dating coach. She says that women love Sigma men because Sigma men are, among other things, she says, good listeners. I can't imagine people like Vox Day or Andrew Tate being good listeners. So different people have different ideas as to what they are supposed to be. I will say, on a lighter note, that all the lists I've seen of what a Sigma male is supposed to be like, none of them say he should be like an annoying singing head popping out of the toilet. And yet, Sigma is another of those words like skibbity that people keep coming up with because they're cool and funny at the moment. And mostly because they're things that young people talk about that old, boring squares like teacher are not supposed to know. And you're supposed to snicker that you're using words we don't know. And if an oldster like me does know these words, that's laugh out loud funny. Okay. Now, as to this attractiveness to the other sex thing, the Christian life coach, Coach Melanie, she made up her own list of Sigma qualities, listing what she likes in a man, basically, and using that to say why they are hot. Whereas videos by self-styled Sigma men often say that 97% of women hate Sigmas because women are manipulative and scheming, and Sigma men refuse to be manipulated by these wicked manipulative bitches. Yeah, I know. You're not supposed to do that, are you? You're supposed to write or say the word eye roll or post an eye roll emoji, not actually roll your eyes. But seriously, yeah, mate, you're just too good to be manipulated. That's why the girls don't like you. Yeah, keep telling yourself that, pal. But that, again, is what can get you into the most toxic parts of the online manosphere. Yeah, thinking that you deserve women, but they're trying to manipulate you and you're just too good for them. It's another way of getting into the whole incel thing. It can be very dangerous and very lonely. Yeah, it's all very well telling yourself you're a lone wolf, but it can get genuinely lonely. Vox Day himself, by the way, the guy who invented the Sigma label, he said that Sigma men are disdainful of women, but can get them if they want to. It's more of the, I could be a great leader and a great lover if I wanted to, but I don't want to. Yeah, right, sure. Go on, keep telling yourself that. Okay, because it's not a really well-defined category, it isn't a useful thing. If you're a guy who's happy in yourself and happy not being part of the in-group and not following fashion, brilliant. You go for it. No problem at all. But don't worry about all these different lists and all these so-called experts online tell you what you have to do to be a real Sigma, or the new clique at school who think they get to say who is and isn't a Sigma. Be yourself. Don't worry about labels. This is just another label. And you're supposed to be not about being labeled, aren't you? Okay. Actually, I probably don't really need to tell too many people this. Young people are smarter than we oldsters give you credit for. I know that it's getting to the point where the whole Sigma thing's a bit of a laugh now. A lot of kids will say somebody's being Sigma when they're having a laugh with them, or tell the teacher, oh, you're a real Sigma, sir, when they're making fun of him. And yes, people have said that to me. So yeah, and it's another silly word to call out like skibbity. You know, it's not really serious. So as long as you don't take this thing seriously, if you like being your own man and not fitting in with the in-group, great. Don't try to fit in with another new label. It's just another clique. Don't let it get to you. Anyway, that's all the rambling from me for today. I have some other sort of social issue things I ought to do at some point, but probably next video I do will just be another funny poem or something. I kind of enjoy those. Yeah, I have some serious things to say now and again, but funny poems or funny stories, the world needs more of them. Anyway, see you next time. Bye.